Welcome back once again. It's time for the Golden Age of DC Comics 365 Days, where I take this much beloved coffee table book given to me by one of my best friends about 2 decades ago. It's been surfing my coffee table ever since, and it's a source of conversation. And I thought it would make a great excuse to come here today and yesterday and tomorrow to talk to you about comic books. If you love comic books as much as I do, then you're tuned into the right station at the right time. I'm using this book for its intended purpose. It's a page a day, 365 days book, and we're going to open up the page, go to today's date, read the blurb, and look at some comic book art of a bygone era called the Golden Age. The Golden Age at DC Comics runs from 1938 to 1955. The Silver Age begins in 1956 and goes until 1970. The Bronze Age, I'm a Bronze Age baby myself, from 1970 until about 1985. And then we can get into conversations about other ages. I see a Copper Age from 1985 until 2000. I see a Millennial Age, or a Millennium Age, from 2000 to 2015. And since 2015, we're in some undefined current era of comics, a current age. I wouldn't call it a modern age. I would definitely call it a postmodern age. And but let's get back to the Golden Age. Let's get back, Loretta. Your mama's waiting for you, wearing her high heel shoes and a low-cut sweater. Get back home, Loretta. That's the Beatles. I hope I don't get a copyright strike for that. All right, it's May 3rd, and this is art by Jack Cole from Plastic Man number 3, spring of 1946. Remember, at this time, Plastic Man was a member of Quality Comic Books, which was a direct competitor to National Comics publications, which eventually became DC Comics. And Plastic Man was one of their big draws. No pun. But yeah, check out these draws, right? And let's read the blurb. Yeah. Unlike us mere mortals, Plastic Man never misses an elevator. In this story, the doors slam shut in his face, just as they have done for so many others so many times. But Plastic Man is undaunted. He squeezes through the crack between the doors, enters the empty shaft, gets a grip on the ascending car, and takes a ride in pursuit of an escaping killer. Dragged down by his own weight, will presumably resume their normal length before he reaches his designated floor and captures his prey. Yes, art by Jack Cole from Plastic Man number 3, spring of 1946. So by 1956, Quality had basically sold everything to DC Comics. And so by the 60s, DC was reviving Plastic Man over at DC, and by starting in 1966. And as I said before, if you've seen it in the past, he had a cartoon from his 1979 to 1981 in my personal golden age of 8 years old, The character went on to become a member of the Justice League in the 1990s. Grant Morrison brought him aboard. It was an amazing time for superheroes and superhero stories, and it was huge. And it was the Grant Morrison, Howard Porter JLA run of the 1990s. Check that out. That's a suggestion from me. And also, according to DC Canon, what is canon? Canon is the accumulation of and the curation of all the stories and of different times and how they contribute to an overstory. I like to see DC Canon as a beautiful Persian rug, and it's pretty old, but it's and occasionally but it's kept its beauty, it's kept its value, it's kept its worth, it's gained value over time, and that some corners bunch up, and sometimes you get a stain over there, and sometimes you just need to fix the rug, and sometimes you need to clean it, and sometimes you just got to pick it up, shake it off, clean all around it, and just lay it down flat once again. Yeah, that's DC Canon. Sorry, sideways here. Meanwhile, on Sideways. According to DC Canon, the quality characters before 1985, 1986, the revamping event called Crisis on Infinite Earths, existed on two separate realities in the DC multiverse, Earth Quality and Earth X. So Earth X was literally its own place. We haven't seen any of their. I don't think we've seen any of them yet, but we'll get there. It will get there. And but the Freedom Fighters, where it was set in 1972, and World War II had never ended, and the Nazis were still winning and stuff. And they had this group of American superheroes, and it was a very diverse team. And like talking about diversity and representation, you should check out like Jack Kirby's The Forever People and the Freedom Fighters. You had the Ray, you had Uncle Sam, the Phantom Lady, and the Black Condor, and it's an interesting superhero stories. These what ifs. It was superheroes meet World War II comic books, which were huge at the time. And another quality publication. One of my favorites, GI Combat. One of the the big World War II comic books of the 70s. My Uncle Eddie had them all the time. Every time I was over at Nana's house, I would just go right to his room and start looking through his World War II comics of the 70s. Haunted Tank, GI Combat, Sergeant Rock, Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, and The Unknown Soldier. I mean, I grew up on these comic books. And let's get back to the Golden Age and to Plastic Man just for a second. So here we are, yeah, and that's a little bit of love for quality comics and their and the characters that they brought to our imaginations, and they're still used as intellectual property. If you are tuned into the CW show, The Flash, they did Crisis on Earth X a few seasons ago as this huge crossover between the four different shows. And they went to Earth X, where there was still World War II was going on, and the Nazis were gaining the upper hand, and it was it was a crisis where you had a convergence of multiverse Earths and heroes from different Earths to save the day, and it was pretty cute, you know. I mean, it is what it is. It's a CW show. It's rather soapy, and but I'm also a big fan of those late 90s, the late 80s and 90s Flash stories by Mike Barron and William Messner Loebs. They were pretty soapy. I like that. And before Mark Waid took over, there were a lot. You know, it was that was just the storytelling mode. You know, that's how things were just. That's how comic books were. They were just a little soapy. They had beside the adventure, you always had a B story with more personal notes. And and so what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section. Like and subscribe if you could be so kind. I make daily content. We're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. Tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We'll find out who and what we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. And yeah, just a little quality time with quality comics. And yeah, Plastic Man. What a great superhero. What an amazingly cool power to have drawn in these fantastic tales, meaning fantastic literally, as in fantasy, as in this will never happen, you know, and he predates Mr. Fantastic of Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four by like 20 years or so. And but yeah, these are the conversations we would have in comic book stores, and I miss them, and I want to recreate them here with you. And I give thanks, and I'm blessed and grateful for you for tuning in. If you love comic books as much as I do, it's a great time to talk about comic books. Every day is a good day to talk about or even read a comic book. I'm a big fan of that notion, and I hope you're doing awesome. And God bless you. Namaste. Good luck. Tune in. We also make other content. We talk about comic books every day. I talk about gratitude and spirituality. Hashtag lighten up. All right? It's about enlightenment. Yeah, and I'm also a professional chef. I've got the What's Cooking playlist where I share my cooking hacks with you. I want to earn your subscription. So come aboard, and thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye-bye.